Hey guys, this is Pastor Big Al. I have a cup of coffee and I have my Bible and I actually have a computer in front of me today because I want to show you some things on the internet. And there's a couple of things that I just want to share with you today. I mentioned yesterday that I wanted to talk about the United Allied States. The United Allied States, and it's pretty crazy because here's how I want to start all this off. You see, they say the biggest hits, the most devastating hits, are the ones that you don't even see coming. So like if you were in boxing or in football or even in real life, the biggest hits are the ones that you don't expect. Because if you could see it coming or if you could expect it, then you could try to avoid it. Or not even just try to avoid something that might hit you, but you would also be able to try and brace yourself and so somehow deal with the blow that's getting ready to happen to you. But for the unexpected, the things that just happen, and or the hits that you don't see coming, those are the ones that are most devastating. But see, we are living in the year 2020. And with technology, and I want to tell you that technology is so amazing, especially social network and all those things. But technology is so amazing that very few things, if anything, can actually take place and us not know about it. Right? But so that's what makes me kind of wonder what in the world is happening, because literally a worldwide nation is being born, and for the most part, we've not heard anything about it. And in fact, in less than a week, they will elect their very first ever president. And I want to take a look at some of these things, and it's called the United Allied States. And I'm going to take you here to the internet, so you should be on the internet now. Hopefully it's on the internet now. And so let's take a look at this. And so here you see as the United Allied States. And let me scoot up here. And this is their website. So we know it's called the uas.govt.agency. And so here you go. It's United Allied States. And we're going to look at this about us. So let's just see who they are in their own words. Okay? So the mission of the United Allied States is to preserve and protect individual rights and liberties by enabling free market activity, by promoting the sanctity of life, and by minimizing government taxation and regulations. The UAS maintains laissez-faire market conditions such as low regulations, low taxes, empowering businesses to not only grow but also to innovate. Individuals and businesses will pay 0% personal income tax, and respectively, regulations on industry is minimal and only for the purpose of protecting the sanctity of life and liberty. We'll come back up here. The vision of the UAS is to establishment of get this, a worldwide sovereign nation of states, each offering its residents an unparalleled level of freedom and prosperity, utilizing principles that are proven to facilitate economic growth and foster the creation of wealth. The UAS will promote the values of individual freedom, respect for human life, and free enterprise, all with the fierce determination to drastically impact the lives of not only its citizens, but its allies, partners, and the continent of Africa as a whole. And prioritizing the citizens here, the United Allied States was founded on the belief that government institutions are only there to serve and protect their people. It is guided by the principles of preserving individual rights and liberty, by protecting life, and by promoting a free market enterprise that fuels small business. So let me go back to just to that for a second. But wow, so far the website for the United Allied States is amazing, really. And I mean, it looks really legit, but it's more interesting than that. And we're gonna take a look more at how more interesting than it is, because I want to show you guys some things that are pretty crazy, okay? So let's go back to the internet here and notice that their departments up here on this corner here, the left corner. If you click on the departments, they have a Department of Defense, Department of Education, Department of Finance, Department of Energy, Department of Justice, Department of Commerce, Department of Agriculture, Department of Transportation, Department of State, Department of Labor, Department of Housing. Let's go all the way back up here because 11 departments, and all of these 11 departments have a leader on them. So let's go back up to this departments here, and let's just click on the Department of Defense, okay? Because apparently they're going to have a military, and let's see here, Department of Defense. And my internet is not going for some reason. All right. Well, so each one of those departments has a department person, someone who has been appointed. And let me go back to my camera here. And so, like I said, every one of those departments have a department head that has been appointed. And 11 of those department heads, very interestingly enough, 6 of those 11 are from the United States. 2 of them are from Canada, 2 of them are from South Africa, and 1 of them, Agriculture, Department of Agriculture, he is from Nicaragua. So I thought that was very interesting that 6 of the 11, more than half of these appointed department chairs are from the United States of America. The other thing that I thought was very interesting is their Congress, and let me see if the internet is working now. So because I want y'all to see this, but the Congress, if we click on the Congress. There we go. So the Congress here, we have 3 people that are in the Congress, all right? This guy right here, he is from Canada. This guy right here, Mr. Corey Kozad, he is from the United States. And then this guy right here, Mr. Wessel Sevenster, he is from South Africa. So their Congress is made up of simply 3 people. That's it. And they're from United States, from Canada, and from South Africa. So now let's go back over to their departments and see if it opens up for us now. Yeah, here we go. So here's the Department of Defense, and I just want to show you one department. They got the Space Force, the Air Force, the Navy, the Army, the Central Intelligence Agency, and the Homeland Security. This is their guy, Secretary of Defense George DeMaio, and he was in the 82nd Airborne at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and so he was a member of the United States Army. And I thought that was very interesting. And so I know that you can be looking at all this stuff and you can be saying, how in the world did this happen? How in the world could literally a nation just unfold, take place, really within the last couple of months? How could this possibly have happened and no one notices, okay? The second thing is it legit? Is it real? Or is this just some big old Ponzi scam and just a farce? Okay, it's not real. Okay, so let's take a look at those questions. The first question is, how in the world could something like this just happen, right, without us knowing it? Well, the thing is, like I said, the biggest hits are the ones that you don't see coming. There has been a lot of distractions, and I know we're living in the technology age, and everything, you can see everything. And the reason you can see everything is because people all have a telephone, and on that telephone has a video camera and texting and calling and all that kind of stuff. And so it's quite interesting that with all these cameras, all these texting, mobile, all that devices, that this could take place without anybody really noticing it. And the reason for that is because of all the distractions that have happened this year. And the biggest distraction, of course, is COVID-19. The biggest distraction is this virus that has really, it has disarmed the whole world. I mean, it has made us incapable of doing things. For example, it has shut down churches. Right? It has shut down mosques. It has shut down all kinds of religious activities, okay? But not just that, it has filled hospital beds, and we were in like this crisis moment because of COVID. The stock market just started plummeting, and then people just started losing their jobs, and the unemployment was at all-time highs, and things like that, and people were getting so frustrated, and then we began to start opening back up. And when we began to start opening back up, we had a situation real quick, and then all of a sudden there was protests and riots and civil unrest, and all of those things were happening. And in the background, when you're not even seeing it, a nation is being born. And you don't even notice. You don't even see it. We're not even paying attention to it. And it makes me kind of curious about that how can a global nation be born and us not even know it? And it kind of makes me weary of the mystery of it, okay? And it kind of makes me kind of wonder a little bit. And so I want to just share with you that this is first of all, we're going to take a look, like I said, how did this happen? And now I want to take a look, is it real? All right, is it real? Well, let's go back to the internet here. And as we're back up on the internet part of it, I want to take a look at the news and media part of this. In the news and media part of it, they announced that they're going to have this election. So here's the election date. On June 5th, they actually set this. So again, this hasn't been too long in the process. And so we open this up, and we notice that they will have their election on July 30th, okay? It's their inaugural election day for the first ever president. The sovereign country will be represented by Congress, who will nominate and elect the president to perform the strategic and day-to-day leadership responsibilities to advance and protect the civic and economic interest of the UAS citizens and businesses. The president serves as the head of state, who carries out the vision of the UAS, implements goals and priorities, enforces laws and passed by Congress, rulings handed by the Supreme Court, and the president serves at the highest level administrator and chief commander of police and military personnel. And the Congress is looking forward to participate in the congressional nomination and election of our first president, says Wessel Sevenster of Congress. This president will be the center figure directing the development of the UAS as a nation. United Allied States as an independent sovereign entity with a determination to become the freest and most prosperous nation on earth. The nation promotes the values of freedom, respect for human life, and free market enterprise. Now, I hope that you caught a lot of that, because here's some things that are very interesting. Those are some very high ambitions for a new birthing nation, right? And those are some pretty high ambitions. But they also made note that who is the one to nominate and to elect this president? So let's go back to this internet, and we're going to see who it is that does it. So as you go back here and we come up to Congress, remember, it's Congress that will nominate and elect. And as I already showed you, there's only 3 people in Congress, right? Mr. Joseph Morell, Mr. Corey Kozat, and Mr. Wessel Sevenster. So we have Canada, United States, and South Africa. And they're the ones who will nominate, and they're the ones who will elect. Now, all of the offices, all the department chairs, and these congressmen, all of them have been appointed. And then the president will come in and he will appoint as well. He will appoint them or replace them as well. And so I thought that was very interesting, because who are these 3 going to nominate? I mean, you don't have a very big election here. It's not a very big pool. So who are these 3 going to nominate and elect? My guess is whoever is the one who's appointed all these people is probably going to get the votes. And that's just my guess. But I mean, think about that. I mean, wow, they've been appointed, and now their job is to nominate and elect. Who are they going to nominate and elect? My guess is whoever was the one who appointed them. So let's take a look at a little bit more on the internet and find out if this is real or is this just some kind of a fake thing that's taking place. So let's take a look here. All right. So now here we are, list of countries. This is the countries of the world by the United Nations. They say that there's 197 countries in the world, 193 United Nation members, 2 United Nation observers, 1 plus Taiwan and Kosovo. And so let's take a look at the countries of the world. And here they are listed in alphabetical order. And as you can tell, here in the U section, the United Allied States is not listed. So they're not part of the 197 that are listed here. But let's take a look at this list here. This list there's 191 countries. They list them, but there were 257 countries altogether. And out of those, notice, out of those 191 countries are not disputed. That means that there are 66 countries that are on this list that are at least disputed. Some people say they're a nation and a country, and others say that they're not a nation or a country. And so let's take a look all the way down. This is also in alphabetical order, and as you can see, it'll go all the way down to 257 countries. Some are disputed, though. And let's come here to the U's. And as we come down to the U's, they're not even listed in that list as well. So as you see there, the nations, the world does not even acknowledge and recognize them as a country as of yet, at least. And so is this for real? Well, the age-old story is if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? Well, if these three who have all been nominated by someone, all been appointed by someone, if these three nominate and then elect someone, and they're the very first president ever of a nation that no one else recognizes as a nation, is he really a president? Well, we'll see how all of this unfolds. So a couple more things I want to share with you. One of the questions on Facebook was, is not all this coming out of Africa? And as you can tell, remember, the whole goal is to bring the American dream to Africa, and particularly it's a whole world kind of thing, but most particularly to Africa. So where are these states? Where are the states, and how many of them are there, and all those kind of things. So let's take a look at this, because they had to ask the guy. They did this right here. I did a little bit more research, and they had to ask the guy what was going on here. All right, so here's the breakdown of it. The United Allied States, a new country entirely on blockchain. All right. And technology has granted the opportunities more than we sometimes bargain for at the time of creating something new. What technology is not doing for us today is helping us to locate the new land. The United Allied States, mentioned by Apollo Finch CEO Steve McCullough. Steve McCullough seems to be a big name here. Now, Steve McCullough is a credible entrepreneur and business-minded individual. The Apollo community trusts and belief in him because of the frequent presence, communication skills, and his assurance that always blossoms and be fruitful. Therefore, the United Allied States is undoubtedly a work in progress and will utilize Apollo FinTech's blockchain and products. So let's come down here, location. People were asking, where in the world is this place at? Right? Well, here's the location. The exact location of the soon-to-be-announced United Allied States is currently unknown. But according to information from Steve McCullough, it has been the works for some time. What we've gathered is that United Allied States has ties to many countries on the continent of Africa and around the world. Narrowing down, Steve did mention that the first UAS country will be in Africa, where there is a Christian population. What? Where did that come from, right? All of a sudden, the guy, now that's something to pay attention to, Steve McCullough. I don't know who he is. Maybe I'll do a little bit more research on him, but he is apparently the guy who has appointed all these other people, okay? And so think about that. If the guy who appoints all these people is the one nominated and then thus elected, that's something that we need to kind of pay attention to. But the idea that the location, they have no idea. They don't know who the states are, how many states there are, where the states are, but they do know that they have some kind of agreement already with many of the nations out of Africa. So I'm going to go back over here to the list of countries, okay? List of countries in Africa. All right, well, here we go, a list of countries in Africa, but did you notice the United Allied States are not listed there either. And so as far as right now is concerned, I could tell you that the United Allied States does not exist. They do not exist as far as the world has recognized them. Will that all change next Thursday when they nominate and elect their first president ever? Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. We'll have to wait and we'll have to see about that. But I did find it very interesting that for the most part, that this was going to start, at least, in Africa, okay, with a Christian population. Why does that come up? If you look at their website, there's nothing about even religion at all on their website. And yet, it was particularly, they had to specifically mention that the very first location is going to be in Africa. The very first state is going to be in Africa with a Christian population. Thought that was interesting, something to pay attention to. But what does the Bible say about all this? Well, I don't know. I mean, we're going to take a look at a couple of places. In the book of Daniel, chapter 2, Nebuchadnezzar has a dream. And in his dream, this big old statue. And obviously the statue is made up of 4 kingdoms, but the ending of it really indicates that there is a kingdom that was part of one of the 4 kingdoms, but it's different. It's a latter day type of kingdom. And he mentions that this kingdom is partly strong and partly brittle. Okay, but he also mentions that there are 10 of them. It's representative of the 10 toes that are a mix of iron as well as a mix of clay. And so he told them this in verse 41 of chapter 2. I'm just reading here. It says, "And as you saw the feet, toes, partly of potter's clay and partly of iron, it shall be a divided kingdom. But some firmness of iron shall be in it, just as you saw iron mixed with the soft clay. And as the toes of the feet were partly iron, partly clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly brittle. And as you saw the iron mixed with clay, soft clay, so they will mix with one another in marriage, but will not hold together, just as iron does not mix with clay. And in the days of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that shall never be destroyed, nor shall the kingdom be left to another people. It shall break in pieces all these kingdoms and bring them to an end, and it shall stand forever." And so he mentions that in the time of those kings, so those 10 kings. Now, go with me to Revelation chapter 17. And in Revelation chapter 17, where we get this idea of this beast and this very interesting picture of the beast, as well as this 10 horns that are on this beast, okay? Verse 12, it says, "And the 10 horns that you saw are 10 kings," okay, "who have not yet received royal power, but they are to receive authority as kings for 1 hour together with the beast. And these are of one mind, and they'll hand over the power and authority to the beast." The interesting part about that is that these 10 kings that are listed in the Revelation chapter 17 have not yet received authority or power as kings. So that to me was interesting. Could it all unfold out of a nation all of a sudden that just appears, and nobody has noticed these nations appear just out of nowhere towards the end of time? And if that's the case, then I'm getting pretty excited, because I know that whenever that nation that does appear, and those 10 kings that show their face on the stage of the earth, well, I know that my Lord and my Savior is going to set up His kingdom, and a kingdom that will never be destroyed. So that's what I got for you today. I pray that you have a blessed day. Thank you so much for watching this video, and leave comments. And again, I have to review the comments because I don't like any of the hurtful comments that people do leave. But leave a comment and a like or subscribe. Share this, because everybody needs to know that there's something going on and we have no idea what it is, right? There's a nation, there's an election getting ready to happen in less than a week, and for the most part, no one's even heard about it. So, hey, I pray that you have a blessed day.